Welcome everybody to our town board meeting of June 3rd, 2021, and it's good to be back at the old town hall. Please stand for the national anthem. I'm not even on. Wait, am I on? No.
It's so long, I don't know what I'm doing. We pledge allegiance and a moment of silence for those who we remembered this weekend, this past weekend.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
As I stated while the mic was off, and you couldn't hear me, you just saw my lips moving. I want to welcome everybody to the Woodbury Town Board meeting of June 3rd, 2021. And as I said, it feels good to be back at Town Hall. We'll start with some public input. Anybody got anything they want to say?
Judy was a horse.
Okay, I think I'm on.
You are.
Okay, I just have a few questions about the agenda that I just received a few minutes ago. In item number new business A, signing a rental agreement for a backhoe. To my knowledge, we have so much construction equipment in this town and village and water department and who else, what other departments. I don't know why we're renting a backhoe when we could just share it with some other organization in the town, since we've probably already paid for a couple of them anyway. Maybe you could give us a brief explanation of why we have to have a rental agreement to go out and get another backhoe.
All we're doing is trying out a backhoe. It's not costing us anything. Before you go to buy a piece of equipment like that, they wanted to try it out to see that it will fit the town's needs. And so that's all that is. It's a 2-day rental. We're not paying for it. It's a demo, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do we need a pickleball agreement?
We don't need a pickleball agreement. What we're doing is putting down a new surface where the tennis court is. As you know, if you go up there, it's all broken up. So if you've ever gone to a place that's got those, it's like a mat, that we're having one of those installed, and there'll be 2 pickleball courts painted on it, and they'll be putting up 2 nets, and we can have 2 courts for pickleball.
What is a sensory park agreement?
That also, we are putting in a sensory park up there. It's for younger children up to the age 12, who may not necessarily be able to go on other equipment that we have. And so this is like a touchy-feely type thing that'll have instruments and all kinds of goodies.
Okay, can you tell me where that's going to be located by any chance?
Right next door to the pickleball court.
Oh, okay. Okay, so if you lose at pickleball, you can go over and get some
Correct.
sensory.
Correct. You can go play some instruments, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome, John. Anybody else? Just state your name and where you live.
Michael Milano, I live in Central Valley. I just wanted to address some comments that were made at the last town board meeting. The nature of our group has always been to remain positive and find ways to correct issues that we see throughout the community, and one of these areas happens to be the old cemetery. Just want to make clear that at no point is we are Woodbury pointing any fingers, for the current state of the cemetery. We fully understand that natural elements has caused deterioration to the gravestones, and that maintenance of the land is in the process of being sorted out. We're just actively seeking answers as to ownership of the cemetery in order to take further steps for maintaining the land. We have a vested interest in all things that are Woodbury, and using this issue as any means of a political ploy does not interest our group at all. Positive change is a staple of our group, as we consistently give our time, money, and effort to better our community, and we'll continue with that path forward. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Kevin Lynch, I reside in Highland Mills. I'm a lifelong resident of the area, my family even longer. I love the town of Woodbury, the village of Woodbury, whatever has to do with Woodbury, which is one of the reasons why I signed up and joined the group, We Are Woodbury. Their goal in the beginning was, nothing was to be political about our group. We had members from both sides, the village and the town. Right away, it automatically went back and forth with the whole dispute that's been going on for however long. Some members quit, others got mad at the other members, people started talking, there was a lot of nonsense going on. As you know, I had already a year or two earlier asked you permission. I took a class how to clean the headstones, and I was told I have to ask the cemetery, the Highlands, and the town supervisor. So I came to see you, I asked them. I was granted permission by both, and they were overly ecstatic that we were going to go in and do something with that because it was in turmoil, basically. So I went and took the class. The town historian, Leslie Rose, took the class, some other people. We did that, and during the class, it's given by the Orange County Historian Office in Goshen. Their goal is to have people continue to go around Orange County, clean graves, and restore them to preserve them. That was the main goal. So in my mind, that was my direction, keep cleaning stones going forward. So fast forward a year later, our group was formed. We were supposed to do a project that got canceled because the town or the village was going to be cleaning up the area that we were. So I saw the opportunity to ask our group, who had multiple members, to go there. I could teach them. I had the proper materials and everything to give the class. So they showed up in numbers, and we cleaned the headstones. People that were visiting church and the food pantry and people just walking through were extremely excited that we're in there doing something. Not only that, there's a guy by the name of Mr. DeGeorge that owned the electronic thing in Highland Mills or Central Valley. He has been trying to keep up maintaining the old cemetery on his own time, and he appreciated immensely what we were doing. So as a group, we're always looking to build more members. Whatever work we did there at the cemetery was posted onto Facebook as a way to show people we're out there doing stuff and we're trying to do good. And right away, usually in the past, when a good deed is done, people either get praised or thanked for it. And we got exactly the opposite for it, which really baffled my mind, because if you're out there in the community doing good, whether I'm out there picking up garbage, somebody's gonna get mad at me and stop me from doing it. I don't think that's right at all. Those people are early ancestors of our town, built this town for us. Not only that, there's war veterans buried in there from the Revolutionary War, Civil War. And just recently, Maria, I think, posted on Facebook something about the definition of what Memorial Day is, and that the parade's going to be coming down 32 and going through the cemetery. Now, to me, you're passing graves that are cracked in half, knocked over, buried underground. It's kind of a shame to me. We should be respecting our elders, respecting the people buried there, respecting our veterans. So, anyway, the whole thing turned into a back and forth. I listened to the meeting last week, and I heard a lot of things that were not true. One of them being, Kate was there for at least 7 days with me, working her rear end off the whole time. So were other people and other people in the community. I didn't feel it was right what they're saying about her and doing to her. This isn't political. It was about fixing up the cemetery. We had a meeting at the cemetery. Tommy Burke was there. He heard what went on. We weren't looking to put anyone down or blame anyone. We just want to resolve who's responsible for maintaining it, to offer our help, whatever it be. And it just seems like there's a lot of childish nonsense going on, this hatred of one another. We're all a town, that's our town cemetery. I don't know too many other cemeteries where all the members of Woodbury, or families of Woodbury in the past, have relatives buried, but right there. And we should be taking care of it. Doesn't require much, some more than 2 or 3 mowings a year, picking up sticks and maybe cutting some tree branches once a month. That's all that was asked. And whoever does it, doesn't matter to me. I'm on neither side, I'm in the middle, I'm a Woodbury resident. And this isn't political, at least it's not to me. Whatever good I could do for this town, I'd like to do. Also, the thing brought up about you're not allowed to touch people's graves, that was already spoken to a year before when I took the class. We were given permission by the cemetery of Highlands that we can do the old part of the cemetery. So we went in there and we did it. Most of those graves, you can't even read the names on them. So who do we ask permission from? The other ones, like the Ryder family, are buried underground. Who do we ask permission from? And nobody even knew they were there. And then we got in trouble. Why did you touch those graves? Well, I metal detect, right? I go to people's houses, I might find your grandmother's wedding ring in the lawn. Should I keep it or do I give it back? I give it back, right? And people are happy. That's what I feel. Whoever stones were unearthed, they should be glad that we did that, because who wants their stones to be sinking in the ground? And there's a lot of things that happen with the stone. They can start deteriorating and crumble to pieces. So we're just trying to save our history and preserve our nice cemetery that we have here in Woodbury. And I think that everybody needs to come together, forget the town, the village. We're just Woodbury residents, and do whatever we can to keep the cemetery nice. And there was a lot of old people at the church, and they were overly happy that we were in there doing it. And we're doing it on our time. We're not asking for money. Nobody wants praise, but we could use a little help and maybe encouragement. That's all we're asking for. That's all I'd like to say.
Okay. I appreciate it. Anybody else?
Teresa Luongo, Central Valley. I'd like to address the supervisor's comments about our We Are Woodbury group. On a few occasions, he has addressed us as these or those people when speaking about events or actions of our group. He has put numerous roadblocks to stop us from hosting certain events, such as a parade or cleaning headstones at the old cemetery in Highland Mills. He has stated that we are acting for political purposes when that is far from the truth. We are a local community group which has members who volunteer their precious time to do good for our community. We keep facing negative criticism, and I'd like to know why. What has We Are Woodbury done or said that is not in the best interest for our community? I think it is time to take a look in the mirror and see who is really acting for political reasons. There's nothing more I'd like to see than for our local governments to work hand in hand and support us. We could accomplish so much more that way. Until that happens, we will continue to push forward and keep doing good deeds, whether we have the supervisor's support or not. Thank you.
I will basically wait for the rest of our We Are Woodburys to talk, and then I will say what I have to say. Anybody else?
My name is Lori Taylor Williams. I'm from Harriman. I got in contact with Kate when I saw the Photo News article. Coming back to the cemetery are my second, third, and fourth grade grandparents. For years, I could not go to the cemetery because it was just overgrown and a mess. Jonathan Taylor came here, what was it? He was here until 1875. He owned 1,000 acres, which included Rose Lawn Estate. His son Isaac also fought in the War of 1812. He ran Rose Lawn Estate. He raised the horses, which became national. When I contacted Kate, I was so happy that this was being done. 80% of the people in that cemetery are my relatives, whether directly or by marriage. Do you realize that there are 540 graves there? And I'll support them. If they need somebody to say, you can touch this stone or that stone, they can contact me. I've done 36 years of genealogy on my family. I have it all documented. I give them permission.
It's not for me to say if you
Okay.
can go on there or not.
Now, are you considering that a cemetery or a graveyard?
I'm meeting with the board of the Cemetery of the Highlands.
Mm-hmm.
I'm meeting with the pastor
Okay,
and myself. And
okay.
we'll be meeting tomorrow to decide what it really is. Because obviously nobody seems to know.
Well, a graveyard is attached to the church, a cemetery is away from the church,
Okay.
alright? But I think it's great what we're doing. I actually met up with Kevin, it was the end of the winter, and the work he did was beautiful. And there's just so much. My history's here. The Taylor side of the family is here with all over. He owned from almost Tuxedo to Newburgh. My other side owned all Cameron State Park, Tompkins. This is where I live. This is where I love it. And I want to see the cemetery being maintained. You have two right off the bat that are veterans in this town. That's all I have to say, but I'm glad that they're doing it. Thank you.
Okay, well, first of all, no, you can sit down. Your last comment that nothing's being done, the town's been taking care of that cemetery since, at least 2001, when Sheila Conroy, decided not to pay the cemetery anymore, and that the town would take it over. We go in there and we do what we need to do, we maintain it 3 times a year, we go in and we mow it. We don't have to do it, it's not our property. We were asked to do it, and so we go in and we do it. Voluntarily, as a town, we go in and do what we can about it. As far as the comments go, I don't know, I look at Facebook. I'm not commenting on Facebook. You are, not you personally, but your group is. Your group is constantly talking about how disgusting the place looks, how overgrown, or how this and how that. We maintain it. We've been maintaining it, as I said, since 2001. And then to say that we're going out and say, I say what I say in response to comments made on Facebook. Now, if you guys don't want to own up to those comments, that's fine, I don't care. I'll own up to my comments. Yeah, I don't like them. I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of getting texts from Katie asking, when are you gonna go in? When are you gonna let us go in? When are you gonna? You'll go in when we can allow it. You're asking me to do it. And yeah, good,
Yeah.
good.
Nothing in there.
It's okay.
Then why did you give us a letter stating that we could go in?
No, I didn't state that. I stated that we don't own it. Okay? Read the letter. I stated that the town does not own it, and I cannot give you permission to go in or out.
So what happens if we go in and clean it?
Well, if someone makes a complaint, you'll be trespassing. But why don't you just wait until we find out? My point is that you wanna go in on private property. The church didn't tell you can go in and do it. Cemetery didn't say you can go in and do it.
Yes, it is.
And not according to her.
I'll go,
Well,
tomorrow we can discuss.
I will discuss it with her.
And
I don't know if you're gonna be here, but,
at our last meeting, you were aware that we were there cleaning beforehand, they were in cahoots with it.
I understand what you're saying, I was there at the meeting like you said, but I did receive a phone call last week from, is it on? It is
Yeah.
on, it is on. From the cemetery to Highlands, and we're gonna be meeting tomorrow, because they have some information that they were, able to receive, I believe there's a new pastor, and I think there was some, new information that they have, and that's what part of the meeting is gonna be tomorrow, to see moving forward. But what we are saying here today, Frank is speaking on behalf of what he's saying to you, but I don't follow Facebook.
Well,
And just so you know, I will say that I went by there last week, because I also have family members there. And I saw that it was maintained recently by the Buildings and Grounds. I saw some work that was done, and
Believe me,
it looks way better than it ever was.
we had done, if you would have seen it when we started, there was trees, rotted trees, big trees, rotted.
There
All
were
over
leaves up
the
to
place.
my waist.
Leaves were this high. We spent days and days in there. So that's why people, and it wasn't just our group, We Are Woodbury, who was upset. Other people, passerbyers, people going to church and food pantry, dropping off food at the food pantry. Everyone was like, this is a disgrace. And you can't argue with them. I mean, the first time I went to take the class, the grass, I got a picture of it this high. I was embarrassed actually, because the group asked me, do you want to volunteer at cemetery? So I go, oh, let me do one in my hometown, Cemetery of the Highlands. So we agreed to go there. We get there and I'm like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. Like I'm not trying to, or we're not trying to make the town do all this extra work. Like we'll even help our group. We just feel that somebody, like a cemetery is supposed to be respected. And whether it's ours, theirs, whoever, if it's in our town, it's our town cemetery. You know, we all should be helping. You know what I mean? And that's why when I heard the comments on the meeting last week, it wasn't fair because some of the people in our group really put in some sweat and hard work there. And then to hear that said bothered me personally because when you're doing something good or right, you stick up for yourself. And that's
I agree with you, and I think that there are a lot of people in this community that do. You guys, We Are Woodbury, I hear people speaking of your group and that there are work that you've done in the community. I can, some do more, some do less, but everybody does work. I mean, I saw a husband and a wife, I'm not gonna mention names, doing some cleanup in front of the courthouse, and I'm not really.
and I was with them a few years back up on the top of the Zax clean.
And I was
And I don't want-
listening, we finished,
I don't want to
we
be
were there,
correct.
I pulled over, and everybody did it, and everybody gets acknowledged for it one way or another.
But I have a question, like,
Hold on, Kev,
that's,
do me a favor, stand up, everybody, this way we can get it, and we can hear you.
this is something that just popped in my mind and I forgot about. I know prior to being not allowed to go back into the cemetery until we figure out who owns it, there was talk that if the town takes it over, our group's not gonna be allowed to go in to repair the graves and fix them and clean them. So, just recently, which is another thing that I don't think was true, I had asked you personally on the phone and text messages about could we do the class on how to repair them, the people that are coming down to volunteer. So, and you did call me back to find out if I got permission, or if they were still coming. And I told you, yeah, but we had just, because you were saying we couldn't do it there at the time. So we got in touch with Monroe, and they allowed us to go to the Monroe Cemetery to hold the class.
Correct.
So if the town was gonna take over the cemetery, or was thinking about taking over,
Can I just interrupt you for a second?
yeah.
Town doesn't want to take over the cemetery. Let me explain that to you.
I mean, take over the maintenance.
People are just telling us that it's abandoned, meanwhile people have been buried there recently, and that because it's abandoned, the town has to take it over or ends up taking it over, okay? The town does not want to own a cemetery. As far as I won't speak for everybody else, but you know what? As a supervisor, we don't wanna own the cemetery. You're coming to us and asking us to give you permission to do something, okay?
Well,
I'm telling you, we don't have the authority to give you that permission.
The
But
only
you don't
reason-
want, but you don't wanna hear that. See,
the
that's
only-
what I'm saying.
No,
Let me talk.
Yeah,
You don't wanna hear that. You know, you wanna go in, and if the town owns it, we should let you go in. If the town owns it and you wanna go in there and clean it, you gotta have insurance. I'll ask my attorney right here. We can't just let anyone go on the property and start cleaning our property. It's a town's piece of property. We own it. I mean, say it the right way. I'm not saying that you can't do anything, but you don't wanna do the right, I hear about the parade. We do let you do a parade. Well, you gotta fill out a form, you gotta come to the town, you gotta put, show that you have insurance and all, but you didn't wanna. So where'd you go? You went behind the firehouse. All right, good for you, I'm glad.
well,
But when I tell you that these are things that you need to do, you don't wanna hear it.
no, well, what? Listen, like I said before, I'm not on either side, the town or the village. And I'll tell you this, the group that we created have regular meetings, and think Jackie was at one of them or two. Bob was, or Maria was there. And what we did, we made committees, one of them being a parade committee. So what we do, we brainstorm ideas. How do we make our parade better? What ideas do people have? You know, and we put input.
But that's not the point.
And then
The
from
point-
there, it goes
No,
to,
no,
we're not just gonna go out and have a parade on our own. We're gonna, of course, have to do what we have to do.
But you didn't.
But
And
we
then,
never-
and then someone complains right now tonight that I stopped you from having a parade. I didn't stop you from having a parade. You stopped yourselves.
You changed it way before, and then.
But what's the difference? You still had to fill out a form.
We couldn't get the proper paperwork and insurance and all that in like 2 weeks. Why was it changed right before there was a rumor that we were gonna?
Because people are starting to have parades and we're finding out that they don't have insurance. Very simple, okay? Follow the rules.
And the other,
But I'd really like to move on with our meeting.
I just wanna say one more thing.
Please.
It's a question, really. If the town was going to take it over, or might take it over, we had the class in Monroe, and I just wanna know how come nobody from the town, it was a volunteer class, showed up to learn how to fix the stones problem.
I don't know, put out a questionnaire for the people in the town and ask them why they
Can I
didn't
say
go.
something as a board member? I just wanna kind of respond to this. Kevin, I know that you work with when it comes to preservation, everyone knows about it. And I know that I appreciate the work that you do. I know you've talked about even coming to our property right now before just to do, some metal detection. I just want to be clear, for members of the town board, we, like everyone else, have loved ones who have passed away. We understand the importance of graves, being maintained, the cemetery being maintained. I don't think anyone here argues that. I think the issue always becomes safety, right? An example of this is we had at our parks, at the Reds, we had, there was a baseball game, or there was a game where teams from outside of Woodbury were able to come in and participate. And a little girl was playing along the benches and she fell and she severed her face. And as a result, we were sued. Now she came from outside and that team didn't have insurance, and as a result, the town was liable. So there's a lot of situations that we deal with when it comes to lawsuits, when it comes to liability, that when you talk about the town, we have to always think about the best interests of the full situation. So when you talk about the cemetery and that there was a class that was being offered, I was not aware of a class. I have a lot of interest in a community. Maintaining gravestones may not be one of my interests, but I am interested in, of course, supporting people who want to do that. I think, again, when we talk about the board is interested in supporting the community. We just have to follow certain regulations, and I know at the last meeting it was discussed. We followed up, the supervisor followed up with our clerk to see where's the ownership, right? Because this has been an ongoing discussion, and when you continue to discuss the same topic, you either have to come with a resolution as to, all right, what's the legal ownership of this property? Who's legally owned? Because it's never really been answered, and even when I asked and this was brought to our attention, I was not aware of it, right? I don't know the history of it. So when you learn the history of it, it's like, well, if this is a continuing problem, how do we resolve it so that it doesn't come back again? And that's what we did. So for the past several months, since it was brought up and we did research. We got the tax maps. We looked at and I gotta say, the clerks put a lot of work into mapping out specifically where is this little plot of land that's the forgotten plot. So, and the church has been contacted. And so this process has led to this meeting that's coming tomorrow. It's not that it's been forgotten, it was brought to the attention and the board knows, okay, we need to resolve this and have a legal answer so that moving forward, this doesn't continue. And if the town board is responsible and we put something in place, if a committee who wants, under the town, wants to maintain the gravestones that we're responsible, if it's deemed that we are, then a committee could be created and it could be covered under the volunteers, and then the liability could be covered, and there's a process that we can put in place. It takes a little longer, and I do understand that sometimes it's frustrating, but when you deal with the town or the village, it's the proper way of doing things so that we make sure that everybody is safe.
You know, I mean, in response to that, our group has helped town-owned or village-owned property, and all they do is make a phone call and add everyone onto the insurance for that day. So, say we were gonna clean the cemetery, I mean, of course, who owns it comes into play, but according to what everyone says, it's considered abandoned, at least back when we first started looking into it. And when it's abandoned, it's the municipality's obligation to.
And that's what we're trying to refine,
Yeah,
right?
Let me
Because
just-
We have no problem waiting for that. I'm just saying,
Kevin,
I think
listen,
we need
that's
to all-
what you're talking, I know what you're saying, we all know what you're saying, we're all in agreement with that. You talked about the first time we met and we had that meeting. I received a phone call and an invitation to that meeting by the cemetery at Highland. That's why I was there. They called me to attend. When, from that moment on, that day, that meeting that we had, supervisor was informed of it, and we've been in constant contact as a town, like Jackie's saying. And here we are at this point with tomorrow with a meeting to try to get some sort of resolution moving forward. In the
Great.
meantime, Kevin, right now, from our perspective, we do have the buildings and grounds that have already gone in there and done some work. And with tomorrow's information, and when we get, we get in touch with everybody know, and we'll move forward.
I just hope that we can all work together and be able to repair all the broken ones and fix them, and that's all our wishes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, let's move on. Oh,
Ray Hernandez, Highland Mills. Just want to remind everyone that's here present today and for the viewers that next Saturday we're going to be having a First Responders Day at the Res. Please come out and support our local police department, fire department, and EMS. We're going to have tons of activities. The parks is going to be doing barbecuing. So all the residents of Woodbury and their families are welcome to this event. Let's come out and show support and show appreciation for our first responders. Thank you.
Okay. Let's move on to the meeting. Administrative business, I need a motion and a second to accept the minutes of 5/20/21.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention. Okay, approval of the abstract number 11. Desiree, please.
Abstract 11 contains vouchers 210716 through 210782 and totals $60,207.50.
Okay, I need a motion and a second.
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. All right, budget modification. Desiree.
There is only one this evening, it's to approve a modification to the budget of the Board of Assessment Review by increasing a 1470.100 for personnel service by $500, a 1470.400 for contractual expenses by $100, and a 599 appropriated fund balance by $600.
Okay, I need a motion and a second.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. All right, new business. Authorize the supervisor to sign a rental agreement for a backhoe. And as I explained earlier to Mr. John Smith, this is gonna be a demo, but we need to sign that contract, that we will have insurance for it. It's a 2-day demo, and that's what, it's not gonna cost the town any money. Thank you, Tom. Anyone else?
I'll second.
Thank you. And we have-
Just a quick question. Sure. Joey, do you know what date that would be?
Hopefully next week sometime. They don't know exactly what date.
Just send me a text.
Okay.
I'd like to swing by.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna send all you guys a text, so you
Okay,
can see it.
thanks.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Authorize the supervisor to sign the mainline agreement with, for the John Burke Memorial Pool Construction Project. I think the, attorney had a few comments to make on that beforehand.
I would just suggest that the board make it subject to being approved by council, because there are some things I'd like to clarify with the IO. But I have no legal objection to the board authorizing the supervisor to sign it, subject to my review.
Okay, so I would hold off until you said it's okay.
We're not gonna deliver it to them, so
Yeah, that's what I'm
sign
saying.
it and hold it.
That's what I'm
Just
saying.
hold it, yeah.
Hold off on
Correct.
it. Okay. I need a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
One second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. We have, I sent out some price quotes for the, pickleball agreement, which is, they're going to resurface right now what is our tennis ball courts up there, and it'll be it seems like a rubberized floor matting that they're gonna put in. It'll be painted for pickleball courts. They will have the, two, nets, and, so I think the total amount was $69,000. Thank you. So I need a motion and a second for me to sign that agreement. I think Joe wanted to look at some of it also. I gotta give the guy a call, but after Joe says okay, we can move forward on that.
Yeah, it would be there's some things we need to clarify.
Yeah, just on the warranty and stuff, the way the wording is.
Right. My understanding, this is on the state bid, so
Yes.
no bidding is required, so we'll authorize the supervisor to sign it, and subject to my review.
Thank you. Well, let's make the motion in a second, and you can
I'll
come.
make a motion.
I'll second it. Go ahead, Tom.
Now, these two pickleball courts, they're gonna be replacing the tennis court at the res. It's gonna be right next to the sensory park that we're gonna construct.
Correct.
Both these projects are gonna be done together as one project, or is it different?
No, they're two separate projects. It's the same company that we're using. It's just, we installing them more. The pickleball court, we were told we need a 4 to 6 week leadway. Where like, if I'm not mistaken, Joe, the other one, he said they can start like after 2 weeks or something like that?
For the Century thing,
Yeah.
if everything's in stock, you know, whatever color, you guys gotta decide color and stuff, so
Right.
that's what it's for.
Yeah, but they should be done this summer. Okay, so, we got the motion, we got the second, all in favor? Any disagreement? Thank you.
Well, before we go forward, I just want everyone to also be aware that at the res, because we, as a board, we had discussed it, that removes the tennis court, the tennis court, but we do have, in the Woodbury, we do have a tennis court at the pool.
Not to mention quite a few at the school,
Right.
so I don't think we'll be short on any tennis courts.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
I have a niece who's on the spectrum, and I know how noises and all that affect her. With the Century Park being right next to the pickleball court, isn't there more tennis courts there than this one?
One.
Will the sound from the pickleball, and I've never played pickleball, so I have no idea. But will the sound from the pickleball court affect some of the children that might be
It's-
using the Century Park?
It's a plastic ball that they use, and I know, but, and they usually only play on Saturdays anyway, they'll come up and play on Saturday, and that's usually in the mornings. So I think that Century Park is open 7 days a week, so I don't think that would be a major problem.
I just wasn't sure, because I know.
Yeah, it's gonna be, it is open for them, and it's not just gonna be musical instruments, there'll be like equipment for like children with special needs. There's a number of different areas, but it is gonna be open field, so, it should be absorbed really just by like nature.
And we are putting in a fence between the two, and if possible, if you find that it's a problem in the future, we can put that lattice or something like that going across, that'll,
I just know like my niece, she gets very affected by noise, so.
And people playing pickleball all night.
Right, Nick,
Well,
yeah,
that's-
could be agitated, yes.
Losing team was a lot of winning this.
Except for when the supervisor falls. And then he screams and yells. Alright, Sensory Park. I need, we did get a second, not a second estimate, but an updated estimate, because we changed a piece of equipment. And I can get that to you, Desiree. But I need a motion and a second to authorize the supervisor to sign the Sensory Park agreement. It is now approximately, I think it's, 5,000 more, so it's $157,000 approximately. No, that's for,
That was for the debt, right?
there's two pieces to it. There's the equipment and then there's the installation.
It was not really in any order where the stands are, I couldn't.
Okay, yeah, Desiree.
And my understanding is that the equipment's on the state bid,
Yes,
and Joe, were you able to, the installer, is that, he's an authorized installer, right?
yes.
Yes.
So, the equipment is 86,900, and the installation is 72,325. Yeah. Okay, so I got that motion on the floor. I need someone to make that motion at the
I'll
second.
make the motion.
Thank you, I'll second it.
Frank, just, will we be able to have the layout of the park on the website? Just in
I
case.
think so, because they sent it to us in an email, so we should be able to.
So
put that-
we'll be able to
So
post
people
that.
can see what the
Yeah,
actual
just so they can
product
see
was.
what it
Yeah.
It was included in your packet.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
but I just wanna post it on the Facebook, I mean, on the website.
It's on the
And,
website.
and just to,
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Clara was able to post that.
and as part
It
of
is
the,
already.
It was in the, it's underneath the
The
documents.
agenda stuff.
It's under
Okay,
the
great.
documents.
Thanks.
and as
I'll
part,
look, also I'll look to see, because, they actually sent us color photos of the layout and what it will look like, and I'll see if we can get those up as well.
and as part of the motion, part of the-
I'm sorry.
subject to council's review of it,
Yeah.
because there are some inconsistencies on the warranty.
I think that's more on the pickleball, you said, not so much the other one.
But it would be good just to review it, yeah.
No problem. All right, did we vote on it?
Yeah, make a motion in a second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any disagreement? Thank you. Okay, E, town board to approve the hiring of part-time dispatcher Daniel Nowicki, hourly pay rate of $23.98.17, which would be effective June 7th, and that's the young gentleman we interviewed last time, and he's got all his paperwork in, and he's been approved by the county. So, I need a motion and a second.
Motion?
Thank you. Bob?
Second.
Thank you, Tom. Let me get the hiccups. Sorry about that, folks. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right. F, town board to approve hiring part-time animal control officer Lisa Colhane at an hourly pay rate of $18.0138, effective Tuesday, June 8th, 2021. Do I have a motion and a second? Thank you,
I'll second the motion.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. As people know, we did have a part-time, animal control officer retire earlier this year, so, we are hiring two, and one is replacing, that person. Town board to approve hiring part-time animal control officer Eileen Fleming at an hourly pay rate of $18.0138, effective Tuesday, June 8th, 2021. I'll make the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. H, the town board to accept the resignation of Camille Murray as library clerk. Last day of work is Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021, with regrets. Make that motion.
I'll say.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Tom. Any comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. And lastly, the town board to accept the resignation from Anthony C. Donato as part-time dispatcher. His last day of work is May 28, 2001. I need a motion and a second. That's what I just said.
I'll make the motion.
What did I
I'll
say?
second the motion.
2001?
Say 2001.
No.
We're not that far behind.
I'm in the space odyssey mode, what can I tell you? Okay, all right, so I need a motion and a second?
I gave the second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Old business, Tom, you wanna give a full update?
Yes, just wanna let everybody know that last week we did have, company come and do 4 borings at the pool. We had 4 specific locations, the deep end, where the diving boards are gonna be located, and then in other areas of the, where the pool's gonna be sitting. I was there with a few of us that were there, they went down 25 feet or more. As it stands right now, we feel pretty good about it, but we're waiting for the analysis to come back. We still haven't received it. We spoke to the engineer earlier today. Hopefully when that comes back, we have continue with the good news and we move forward. But the borings were done, there were 4 of them done. So that's the update right now with the pool. We finished, like I said, we did acknowledge that we had plenty of soil delivered. So that was done, that's looking good. And I spoke with Buildings and Grounds, Joe G and Zero, we're gonna be discussing it with the supervisor, to talk about that large tree that's there. Because when the construction starts, unfortunately, that one is going to have to be removed. So we're just gonna continue. We do have a hope to meet with them shortly, and we move forward. So that's the update for the day. Thanks.
Okay, and I got one last update for the town court. I received today from the contractor that they expect to start work on it on July 19th. So the courthouse will be closed for about 2 weeks while they do the asbestos removal. Our clerks would work in the office, will probably be in this office right here, working those 2 weeks, and I'm looking very forward to having this completed and the remake of our new town court. It's gonna be great.
Brian,
Everything's being replaced.
regarding the courthouse, there's a payphone in the front that hasn't worked in like 20 years. Can we get that torn out?
I think it would be better served to call up whoever owns it, if we can find out, and make it work. I'll tell you why, Bob. I know everyone has a cell phone, but not everyone has a cell phone. And you get people that come out of court who might need make a telephone call or something like that.
Well, I tried it the other day and it was dead. And I think I tried it 10 years ago.
It was still dead, so, no. So it's not affecting anyone coming out of the court. Is that basically what you're
If we
trying
can
to
get
tell
it
me?
fixed, great, but
Let me look into it.
Okay.
I'll ask them to give a call and see who owns it. Most of them are now privately owned, if I'm not mistaken. They're not owned by the phone company
I
anymore.
think we
I
used to
think it
own
was
it,
Frontier.
and maybe when we did our whole phone system, it might have been one of the lines that got cut. Just saying, I don't know that for sure.
It could be. I wouldn't doubt it. We've had other lines cut that we didn't
Yeah.
expect, so.
You know, we upgraded the phone system about 10 years ago. It could have been one of the
Could be
lines.
right when Bob tried it.
It could have been one of the lines that
That
they were
was a vital-
testing.
vital phone call I had.
I bet. Could have been one of the lines that when Frontier was checking, we didn't know where it was. And never probably thought to look outside.
Well, maybe we'll give them a call. I'll have Laura give them a call and see if they can just check in on it. But it wouldn't surprise me one bit. Okay, board comments. Jackie?
Yeah, I just wanna, remind everyone that we are still in our composting, series for the town of Woodbury and our Climate Smart Community Task Force. We are, expecting to have our last, a series on Monday, I had it right here, Monday the 7th. Yeah, Monday the 7th. We'll have our last workshop, and then on the 12th from 11 to 3, we'll be at the Highland Mills Library to distribute composting bins. If you're interested, they're $54.95. We are going to be setting up a link online on the Parks Department website to hopefully allow you to make those purchases online as soon as Joey gives me the green light. So I'll get that link out for everybody. I do want to thank Lisa, Karen, and Natasha, who has headed the task force with me in doing such a phenomenal job, as well as the library in helping us to host and to provide speakers. It's really great. We're growing our worms, and of course, if you do your composting, we'll have worms to distribute to you guys. My little preschoolers have been nurturing them, so we're hoping.
I can get some worms from the cemetery.
Oh man, those are some good ones. Those are some happy worms.
I don't think they want the white one.
Wherever they come from, they're welcome.
No, it's all leaves on the side, so there's gonna be worms on it.
Well, we could. I welcome them. But yeah, we'll give some good worms out if you're interested in composting bins. We'd love to get it started in the community. Of course, recycle, reduce, reuse. We're hoping to promote that in the community and reduce and make an impact on our environment. So thank you.
Thank you. Tyler?
Yes, I'd just like to thank Camille Murray for her service and Anthony Donato, and wish them good luck in the future, whatever they decide to do. That's it.
Okay. Mr. Burke?
Okay, I'd like to make mentions this afternoon. I stopped up at the reservoir, and I think the building and ground did a great job getting the park ready for everyone this summer. This weekend's going to start off on a hot streak, and I hope to see everybody up there enjoying the park. I spend a lot of time, as everyone probably, if you're coming to meetings or listening, with the supervisor's office. The ladies up there, they're outstanding. And in regards, I've been working with Ivan Sutherland, so put a little something together. I just want to read that considering the unknown effects of COVID restrictions, we moved forward through 2020, and as of right now, we're looking pretty solid. We were pleased that we were able to continue to provide the residents with the same level of service as we did prior to the pandemic restrictions. Our police force continued without interruption, and most offices were open following COVID guidelines, and were able to serve the public and complete the daily operations needed to run our government. I'd still like to see us move forward cautiously, even though everything is looking positive. This way, we as a board will continue to ensure that our financial position stays real solid moving forward. That's it.
Hey, Bob? I'm just really happy to have the Century Park going in with the reservoir. It's great. I think this is a great addition because, we gotta adapt and change to the times and to all people with different needs and what have you. So that's an exciting thing, I think. It's gonna be a great addition in addition to the new pool. And speaking of the new pool, I'm not real familiar with the history of that pond. Maybe Kevin has better. I know it used to be an ice, used to harvest ice on it. Maybe it would be worthwhile to do some metal detecting down there if there's any interest.
Yeah, it goes back to your family, right? The Ryder family?
Oh, Riders.
Riders Pump.
Just, well, no one's down there, so maybe if it's all right, check it out.
It's got a lot of dirt there that wasn't there before, so.
No, I mean the lawn.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Grassy area.
Yeah, just be careful, there's a lot of holes and rocks.
I mean, you never know.
Just be
That
careful.
one's even worse.
That's not a good thing.
So maybe it's worth something, maybe something will be found.
Yeah, you never know.
No, that's all right.
Okay, I don't really have a lot to say tonight, but I do want to
actually congratulate the village on getting a very nice, how much was it? $700 or something thousand dollars?
You mean ARPA funds?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the communities in the state of New York will be getting ARPA funds from the government, which is to be used for one of four purposes because of COVID relief.
I don't know if the towns are getting it. I think that was really, in the sense that there's two separate funds.
There are two separate
And
funds.
there's one that the town is not eligible for, and then the one that the villages and cities are. And,
Yeah,
and-
there's
and-
metropolitan entities, which
Yes.
of all of the municipalities in the state of New York, 32 are on there, and the village is one.
yeah,
And they're getting 1.4 million, they got half of it so far.
yeah, so congratulations.
The NEC, which is.
Yes, that's what we would be, involved in, but they did get it, and, they're only one of, 3 municipalities in all of Orange County, that, basically the Hudson Valley that got it. So, I don't know how they got it on the map, but they got it.
Well, they have a good clerk who applied for the funds.
Alright.
Maybe they have a good year.
There's your answer.
All right, so with that, we are going to,
Departments?
oh, I'm sorry, Maria, go ahead. Oh, and our town clerk, I'm sorry.
I'm speaking on behalf of the beautification committee. I just want everyone to know that last month we had the gazebo at Victory Park. We had the green lights on for Autism Awareness Month. Now what is it?
Blue.
Blue light, that's right. I'm sorry, my son has green lights on the house. The blue lights. We have seasonal lights we do at our house, so that's what we do. But we have the blue lights. Right now we have red, white, and blue on the gazebo. It was in honor of Memorial Day, and it's gonna be going forward. We're gonna leave it up for, there's Flag Day, there's 4th of July. We'll probably leave it up all through the summer, up until Labor Day, probably in November with Veterans Day. We also did the police station as well. So we're doing things that way. We haven't been doing much landscaping at the courthouse because, as you know, it's going to be repaired and fixed. So once that's done, I'll coordinate with Joey as my department head, and we'll fix that up. Also, at the police department, Chief Watson reached out to me about a month ago, and we ordered 7 flags. Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard, and Space Force, and also for POW. And the police chief promised me that each month he's gonna rotate the flags out on the flagpole and the American flag. So I think that's a great thing that we're doing with the police department, that he approached me on that, and the beautification. I have the flags out in Joey's truck, so I'll be delivering them this weekend. Also, as Ray mentioned about June 12th with First Responder Day, beautification also purchased flags for 2 different styles each for the ambulance, fire, and police, with the American flag and bunting. We're going to be decorating the reservoir on the pavilion, so that was part of our thing that we did this year as beautification. So I just wanted everyone to know that we are working, but you may not see all the plantings. We had the extreme rain, the heat this week, so we're not going to be putting out as many plants in the area. So, and we're going to be working on the garden in front of the police station and around the sign. So we have things that we're planning and we are working on. I just wanted the board to know about that. And once the pool is completed, I'll work with Buildings and Grounds. The beautification has made a promise to help plant something, do something at the pool area, because right now we need grass to grow and we'll have to probably replace some trees. So we'll work closely with them, and I think that is about it. And I'm sad that we didn't have the Memorial Day parade, but it was the best thing to do to cancel it this year because of the weather, and it was an unsafe thing. I've been working with Phil and Rosemary Morello, who have the committee, and I was supposed to be there helping that day, and I was, Phil is a wealth of information on the parade, and I've learned so much from him in the last 2 months. So I'm looking forward to next year. We'll work on that and we'll get it going. So, thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Joe, you got anything?
Unless you want.
I know, that's, you're good.
Just so you know, like Tommy said, the reservoir is open. If you haven't got your pass, you can come down here. We're open every day from 10 to 2. We're open on Saturdays from 10 to 12. Everything is online. If you go on our website, it tells you how to apply for your pass. Put your own pictures in. You come down, 5 minutes, you're in now. So if you haven't got your pass, you can do it online. Come down and see us. This weekend is supposed to be in the 90s, so I'm sure we'll be a little busy. But we're ready for it. You know, we want people to come because this week was a bad week with the rain and stuff. Camp Res, we're moving along with Camp Res. Still, we're under CDC guidelines. The health department promised me they'll get their guidelines out to us, but right now we're still under their guidelines. I'm hoping by July 4th that there will be no mask for the kids in camp, which would be fantastic. You might have more information than
Yes, I do.
you do. That I didn't get yet, but we're hoping that's gonna go, and that might help us get some more kids for camp. So camp is gonna be ready to go. Again, we're up there, come on up. This weekend's gonna be really nice. Barbecues are open, volleyball is there, basketball is there. Tennis is there for a little while longer until we get the pickleball nets, but you know, that's where we're at. And again, once we get everything done, the park is gonna look fantastic. And I think everybody in Woodbury will be proud that it's there and everybody's gonna start using it. So, again, thanks.
Yes, sir.
No, I just was responding. I'm pretty sure most of the centers, they gave, and as well as the county executives from all the counties, I think they wrote a letter to the Department of Health in response to their restrictions. They were requiring kids to wear the masks throughout the day. So I think there were some restrictions that were lifted for kids under the age of 5. But I believe they're gonna put status quo in place for what was done last year. And if they do that, it'll be those static groups that we presented as a possibility. So no matter what, we should be okay with the static groups of 10 to 15 maximum with one counselor and no interacting between groups. That should relieve the mask for the groups, so. But I think we're staying at 10, right? 10 to 1 ratio?
10, yeah, it's 10, 10 to 1.
I think max is 15, so. But we should be okay if they, but it sounds like they're gonna go with last year's regulations.
All right, I'm typing as fast as I can.
Wait.
Just want to remind everybody that June is LGBT History Month. I have many friends and some relatives that are members of this community, so I just ask that everyone please remember tolerance, support, and kindness.
And if you go on our website each week throughout the year, because many of these months have quite a few things that they represent, and every week Clara changes to a new banner on top, which is supporting many of the causes that are featured in those months. So, and I thank her; she does a great job with that. Yeah. So with that, we're gonna go into an executive session to meet with prospective employees for the town of Woodbury. I don't expect to make any decisions this evening. So with that, I need a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming tonight.